The St. Louis Cardinals forget their bats back in St. Louis as their road woes continue in New York.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you know when the new episodes and shorts are posted. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So the St. Louis Cardinals have been a really good team at home so far this season, right? They're 8-4, 4 games over 500. Yay! So far, at the friendly confines of Busch Stadium, the road has been a different story altogether. And after losing to the Mets on Thursday night by a score of 4-1, their road record now drops to a ghastly 1-6. Yeah. The only other teams with 1 or less wins on the road so far this year are the Chicago White Sox, who we know are not a good team. They, set a record in losses last year. They're 0-6 so far on the road. The Rays are just 0-3. They've been playing at home all the time. And then you've got the Rockies, who constantly are playing on the road, but they're just 1-11 on the road so far this year, and that's it. So not really the company you want to be hanging around with when it comes to your record. And on Thursday night, the offense, which, it's been so good, right? So good. Just got outmatched. Right-hander Griffin Canning for the Mets was on the mound, faced the Cardinals this spring, and was just as dominant in spring training as he was on Thursday night. In that spring training game, 3 2/3 innings, he allowed 1 hit. He struck out 5. And on Thursday night, he goes 6 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, which was the season high. And he was absolutely dominant. Mixing the breaking ball away, fastball up, back and forth. He kept the boys on their toes, and they kept, and one thing that stood out to me is they kept showing his velocity, which, every game does that. And you're seeing the velo throughout the game where his fastball's coming in 94, 95. Now, a few years ago, that's pretty good. Like, I was watching, for some reason lately, I've been watching old Cardinal games, but of the 90s in 98 when Big Mac set the record for home runs with 70. I've been watching those just for fun. I don't know why. I just have been. And they're showing guys that are going up against the Cardinals in those games, and they're like, dude, he is humming tonight, 95. Well, that was really good in 1998, but that was 30 years ago. And now 94, 95 just kind of ho-hum, right? It's not really anything special. But time and time again on Thursday night, 94, 95, Canning was blowing that fastball past the Cardinals hitters, who either weren't picking up the ball well, or Canning just had some late life on that fastball, or it's a combination of the two, which could be as well, because the guys had little to no success on really anything that he was tossing up there. It was literally a replay of what we saw in that spring training game. And like I said, breaking stuff away, fastballs up. The guys weren't catching up to it. It looked like he was throwing 101. But then you would see the gun, and you're like 94, 95. We're like, what is happening here? But they couldn't catch up to it. The Cardinals got 3 hits off of Canning, and that's all they had all night. Their bats were completely silent. It won't take long to sum up the offense on Thursday night. The Cardinals' first hits came in the 3rd inning. Leadoff line drive single by Victor Scott. The second into center field. He ends up stealing second base. 7th steal of the season, which puts him in a tie for second place in all of Major League Baseball. The Pirates' O'Neal Cruz leads the league with 9. Unfortunately, that was followed up by strikeouts by both Lars Nootbaar and Wilson Contreras. Wild pitch ends up moving Victor over to third base, and then you get a 2-out infield single by Brendan Donovan. Only an infield single because Lindor made a really nice play to knock it down. Couldn't make a play at first base, but that extended Brendan Donovan's hitting streak to 13 in a row, which is the best in baseball right now. So Donnie keeps swinging it. But that brings Scott in for the RBI, which made it 4-1 at that point. Then in the top of the fourth inning, you get a bunt single by Alec Burleson. Yeah, that's right. Alec Burleson, the man known as Biscuits. Not really known for the speed or the bunting, but he lays one down the third baseline when the defense had one of those extreme shifts on. It's not like it used to be where everybody would be on one side of the infield or anything like that, but it was still one of the most extreme shifts you can get to these days. Lays it down, beautifully done. Props to Burley there. You know, you hear people yelling all the time when they see these guys come up to the plate and there's these shifts against them, and they're like, just lay down a bunt for God's sakes, just bump the ball. And hardly do any of these hitters ever do that, right? But Burley lays down a perfect bunt to start the inning, but then the inning stalls with 3 straight strikeouts. Walker, Gorman, Pajes, gone, strikeout, and that was it, folks. Not to sound like, Warner Brothers right there. Abba-deeb, that's all, folks. Just 3 hits, 4 walks, which is great because they were working the counts. Like, they made Griffin Canning work. Like, he ended up throwing 101 pitches in 6 innings. And he was up like close to 60 after 3, but they just could never get any momentum going offensively. A pretty dull and uninspiring performance all around. Pedro Pajes 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Walker 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. Contreras 0 for 3 with a walk. His batting average now at 139. Even Lars Nootbaar, the on-base Terminator himself, 0 for 4, no walks. Very weird, right? Just a tough night at the plate, but no need to go back here and touch the panic button. It's okay. It's one game. It happens. Good pitching beats good hitting a lot of times, right? And that's what happened. Griffin Canning looked really, really good. He looked great this spring. He looked good again on Thursday night, but no need to stress. Canning certainly has their number right now, so hopefully they don't have to face him again. I know after this 4-game series wraps up, the Mets are going to be at Busch Stadium on May 2nd through the 4th, so we'll see how the pitching matchups line up. But, hopefully we just don't have to see Griffin Canning anymore because whatever he's doing, it's working against the Cardinals. Speaking of pitching, one bad inning sunk Thursday start for Andre Pallante. Like, when you're gonna look at his line and you're gonna be like, ugh. And then you're gonna be like, when I explain it all to you, you're gonna be like, what? And you're gonna have an option of which way you want to go. Door number 1, door number 2. So I'm gonna lay it out there for you coming up here in just a moment, because there was one issue that he kept having. It was one thing that kept happening that led to the bad inning. So we'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Bet you didn't. Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required, which is great. All you do is you grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles. I'm a big sports guy, so EA Sports College Football 25, which successfully made its return this past year. It was great. Loved it. Madden is still rolling along. They just had their Sugar Rush promo, which they do around Easter every year. So that's out right now. You got the draft coming up, so they'll be doing something special for that. Or maybe it's not sports. Maybe you're more of a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or an Avowed type of person. Bottom line is you can jump into these games as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Latest technology for elevated playing to give you smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning-fast speeds that you need to stay competitive. If you're going to play the extreme levels of some of these games, speed is quite important, because if there's any sort of lag, you're in trouble. With 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and a whole lot more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen. Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the ballpark food. I'm a big pretzel guy when I go to the games these days. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever with last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as the season rolls on and you're seeing the boys playing good, and you're starting to see the weather get better, and you're starting to see crowds tend to show up a little bit more at Busch Stadium. And if you need to grab tickets, you can count on Gametime to go get you those tickets that meet your needs. One of the great features about the Gametime app is Gametime Picks. That's the feature that makes finding the best deals effortless. It just filters out all the fluff and highlights the top discounts in the stadium. You can even preview where your seat is going to be and what the view is going to look like at that particular seat, which is really cool. And Gametime's just going to hook you up, man. You're going to find options with unbeatable prices. It really takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, and you can do that with Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. Andre Pallante got the ball on Thursday night, and we all know that the Mets have what I would consider pretty intimidating lineup, especially at the top of the order where you've got superstars, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. And I looked it up just because I was curious. Because you know how the Mets payroll is. It's crazy high. It's over $300 million. The combined adjusted salaries for those three guys is over $124 million. Just for those three guys this year. That's only $11 million less than the Cardinals' entire payroll. Is that not crazy? And I'm not here to get in a war of words about, it's the duets being cheap. That's not why I'm saying it. I just thought it was crazy. Like those three guys is what almost the entire payroll for the Cardinals is this year. Pretty nuts. But those three guys they're three of the top players in the world. So that's what it takes to sign guys like that these days. The point being, the Mets are a good team. All right. They got a good lineup. They got a good pitching staff. So the lineup wise, when you see what Andre Pallante ended up with, 4 runs, 7 hits over 6 innings, giving that up to the New York Mets, I just don't think it's something that should be met with disappointment or shame. Like, oh my gosh, you are garbage. How dare you? I don't feel like it's that at all. And I think if you're giving up 4 runs, that's a competitive game against a team like the New York Mets. And it really was when you go back and if you were watching the game, it's one bad inning. It's one bad inning for Andre Pallante in this one, the second inning. It got away from Pallante, and there was one big reason why things happened the way they did, and it was because of his pitch location. He was up in the zone, which for a sinker ball pitcher is the kiss of death. You got Mark Vientos, who has had a tough start to the year, but he's a guy that just, for some reason, I feel like he's one of those dudes that is just annoying to the Cardinals. Like he hit him well last year, and I feel like, he had a big year last year, but he hit a lot of people well. But I just feel like he's that annoying guy for the Mets against the Cardinals. But he gets a pitch on the outer half, knocks it down to right field. It just sneaks it. Like, still don't know how this ball got out, but he sneaks it down the line in right field. You see Jordan Walker keeps going, and it ends up hitting off the base of the right field foul pole for a solo home run. It's his first long fly of the season, hit over 30 last year. One of the ugliest and shortest home runs you will ever see hit at any ballpark. It was gross. It traveled a whopping 338 feet. Like, that wouldn't have got out a lot of high school fields. but it landed in the perfect spot. The guys were Chip and Brad were talking about on the telecast, like it like got into some kind of like jet stream or something and just carried out. Like it was gross. I thought it was just like a lazy fly ball that was going to go foul, and then all of a sudden it's a home run. It was gross, but it counts. It counts. 1-0. 2 batters later, you get the veteran Starling Marte, who's making $20 million this year. By the way, when I was looking at the guy, I was like, "Is he really?" But he ends up ripping a double to left. He's a thorn in the side of the Cardinals for years now, going back to his time with the Pirates. But it wasn't exactly a bad pitch from Pallante there down in the zone, but 107 off the bat. Marte didn't miss that one. 2 batters later, you get the lefty Brett Beatty up. He dumps one down the line in left field for a single. But the pitch was center cut, missed his spot. That makes it 2-0. The next hitter is Tyrone Taylor. First pitch swinging up and in the zone. It's a right-handed batter, so up and into him, but it was in the zone. It wasn't like up and in where it was like on his fist or anything. He knocks that into center field, makes it first and second. And then Pallante has a nice battle against one of the best hitters in the world, in Francisco Lindor. But again, the pitch that Lindor ends up getting a hit on, right down the middle, center cut. Lindor rips it to right, drives in Beatty, and then he gets caught in that rundown play that you see teams. The Cardinals have done this play before too, where there's a guy who's ready to round third base, and then the runner who just had gotten a hit gets caught up in a rundown between first and second to draw the attention. That way the run can score. He basically sacrifices himself is what happened. And that's what went down, makes it 4-0. After that, though, after that, Pallante was outstanding. When things are going well for him, you're going to see a lot of ground balls. And after that inning, after the ball was elevated and up, he ends up, finding his release point, gets the pitches down, and things go well for him. 12 of the 18 outs that he ends up getting in this game, he throws 6 innings, were by ground ball. That's awesome. That's a good Andre Pallante outing. After the second inning, after that mess, he retires 12 of the next 13 hitters. So you can look at this outing in a couple of ways. As I mentioned, you've got door number 1. Pallante's final line reads as a guy who had an average to below average outing, 4 runs on 7 hits, 1 home run, 2 strikeouts in 6 innings. Or you can look at it as here's a dude who had 1 bad inning, mechanics were off, whatever was going on, got the ball up, but you feel pretty positive about what you saw from Andre Pallante throughout the rest of his time in the game. And you build from there into his next start next week. I prefer to go with door number 2. But I completely understand why fans would be like, I like door number 1 and would choose that one. The bad inning put the Cardinals in a 4-0 hole. And they were never able to climb out of it. It's not like it didn't happen. It happened. And when the way things have been going for the offense normally, 4 runs, you're like, you can fight back from that, no problem. Hasn't been much to overcome for this offense, but it certainly was on Thursday. They end up losing the game 4-1, and they fall to 9-10 on the season. But there were a couple of bright spots in this game that I do want to mention, because it's not all negative every night. Just because you lose a game doesn't mean everything was horrible, because it wasn't. There were some nice things that went on there. I want to tell you about them next, and I'll also give you a preview about Friday's matchup coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. I love PrizePicks because it's so simple. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. That's it. And you're in. You can even combine players across sports. So if you want to do hockey, basketball, and baseball all at once, you can do that if you want to. They allow that. Gives you a chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash, like in hockey. Obviously, Blues coming up, gearing up for their series against the Winnipeg Jets. They're going to be underdogs in this thing. Begins on Saturday in Winnipeg. You can pick more or less on the amount of saves that Jordan Bennington is going to make. Or you can go with like shots on goal from Jordan Kyrou, or points for Robert Thomas, who should be ready to go after the injury scare late in the game against their playoff clinching win over Utah. Apparently he's going to be fine. Should be back at practice on Friday, so that's great. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. So with the offense quiet, very, very quiet on Thursday, and the Mets with the lead, things could have actually gotten a lot worse. But the Cardinals defense, particularly on the infield, were outstanding on Thursday. Kept them in the game. And it was led by the two Nolans, Nolan Arenado and Nolan Gorman. You know, over the years, we've come accustomed to seeing Arenado making these incredible plays where the barehanded plays where he's charging in and contorts his body and makes a perfect throw over the diamond. We've seen the off-balance throws. We've seen him where he's fading away from third base. Like, he's incredible. He's the best, man. And I'm really glad he's still a Cardinal because I love watching defense like that. I think it's outstanding. Nolan Gorman, your other Nolan. Not much going on with the bat right now, but he was over at second base, and he had a handful of plays in this one that stood out to me and were really nice. Very much, he looked like Nolan Arenado playing second base tonight. There was that slow grounder that he had to charge, and he makes the flip to first base, but he uses the glove hand. That is not an easy play. You know, that ball can get hung up on the leather inside your webbing. Like, that ain't easy what he did there. And I thought that was spectacular. I was very impressed with that move. He had another Arenado-esque barehanded play where he had to do the same sort of thing, charged on the middle of the infield and made a nice throw over to first base to Wilson Contreras. The hardest part about that, it's not getting to the ball, but also, like, you first off, you got to, the ball spinning and stuff. So grabbing it and getting a nice handle, that's the difficult part. But then you have to contort your body to get an accurate throw, and they make it look so easy. So a couple other plays stood out. Like, just Nolan Gorman was, despite not being very successful at the plate, the defense has looked really, really good at second base since Brendan Donovan was over at shortstop. He had a couple of nice plays as well. So pulling off the shortstop move pretty well. I know when we first started thinking about when Victor Scott made the team, we're like, so Donovan's going to play shortstop now because he got the range. Can he do it? So far, so good, man. Is there anything Brendan Donovan can't do, really? But the defense has been a strong point for the team so far this season, continues to be an asset. Big shout out to Matt Swanson. Rookie made his major league debut, throwing a shutout inning. Was hitting around like 97 with the sinker on Thursday night. So that was cool to see. Has had a lot of success in the minor leagues, and he was part of the Paul DeJong trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. It was kind of the under the radar guy. And look at Swanson showing up. So could he become an asset at the back end of the bullpen or any part of the bullpen? It came in the seventh inning in this one. But at any point, just getting outs, that's the idea from the bullpen. So look good. Liked it. John King, scoreless inning of work as well. Friday night's matchup, Miles Mikolas will be on the hill against the Mets. David Peterson, obviously, when Miles is on the bump, defense needs to be ready. Got to be on your toes, man, because the ball is going to be in play. We had the bad game in Boston, but the other two starts for Miles this year, not as bad, right? So we're going to put it nicely. They weren't that bad. Competitive games in his other two outings. The one in Boston, obviously, was a complete nightmare. So hopefully it's nothing like that in New York on Friday. Peterson, left-hander, sinker change, four seam. He's got a slider and a curveball. Sinker is his main pitch. Throws that about 29% of the time. Not a hard thrower. A lot of ground balls, kind of like Pallante is a ground ball guy. He can get a few strikeouts here and there, but he's not like one of these guys who throws 98, 99. He sits around 93, 94. So we'll see how they do against the left-hander coming up on Friday. Also, quick note, Masyn Winn, who's been out with the back spasms. He's heading to Memphis to make a rehab assignment over the weekend if things go well. He's eligible to be activated on Tuesday, so might be getting Masyn Winn back here real soon. All right, guys, thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok at Locked On Cardinals, and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube, help our channel, and love for the Cardinals grow. Standings-wise, I don't want to get out of here before we do that. Cardinals 9-10, as I mentioned. The Cubs still in first place, 2 games up on the Cardinals at 12-9. The Brewers are in second at 10-9. They've won 2 in a row now. Then you got the Cardinals. Reds lost their second in a row to the Seattle Mariners in extra innings on Wednesday. And then you got the Pirates. They've won 2 straight. They're at 8-12. So that's how things are shaping up in the NL Central so far. You guys are the best fans in baseball. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Have a good one.